What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Behind the Cork. I am your host, Eric Rocha. How you guys doing? What's up? You guys doing okay? You look good. Thank you, everybody that tuned in to the first episode with Luke Allen. I sincerely appreciate it, and that's exactly what I want this podcast to be. I hope you enjoyed it. Luke's, as I said, he's an amazing guy, one of the funniest people I know. But today, my episode, we talk with Syatt. You know Lee, he's the Flying Jew himself. You know him from the amazing podcast, The Church of What's Happening Now. And in this episode, we talk about anxiety, we talk about comedy, and we talk about Joey Diaz. And it's kind of amazing. Obviously Lee's worked with Joey for quite a while, and I've gotten really close with Joey. He's one of the amazing people in my life. Love him so much. It's funny though, because Joey is such a figure. Like, whenever we talk about him, or whenever there's a situation, he reminds me of Vito Corleone in Godfather 2. Like, do you remember at the end when they're at his surprise birthday party, and he's not even in the fucking scene, but you can just feel his presence there. And it's funny because Joey is like that. He's got that kind of presence. It's amazing that we can just talk, and it's, he's such a powerful figure. Anyways, we talk about Joey, and it's great because we get to know more about Lee. And Lee is an interesting cat too. I've known him for a while. I love the work that guy puts in, and I think he's one of my best friends in comedy too. So we talk a little bit about that. But before we go to the interview, I have to tell you something really funny that actually just happened. So I'm sitting there, I'm done with the interview, and I get a phone call, and it's Joey. And so, I answer it. So, hey, what's up, buddy? And the funny thing about Joey is he doesn't say hello. He doesn't say, hey, what's going on? The first thing out of his mouth is he goes, let me tell you something. Liberace didn't give a fuck. And he goes off on this rant about how Liberace's legacy is solid. And he talks about how he used to party and he had AIDS, but he lived a life. And he starts talking, I think, about Behind the Candelabra. You remember that movie with Matt Damon and Michael Douglas? And he's talking about that scene where Matt Damon is putting it to Michael Douglas.
Oh God. Oh my God. I'll go shopping tomorrow.
And he's talking about poppers and just how Liberace's he is somebody to be admired because, damn it, he lived a full life. And I don't know where any of this came from. Like, he's the kind of guy that will call you and drop an idea like that. Like, God damn, wasn't Liberace something? And then he just stops and he's like, you doing good? And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm great. I'm fine, And he's like, you need anything? You doing okay, though? And I was like, yeah, buddy, I'm good. And he's like, all right, I love you, cocksucker. Stay black. And that's it. It's so funny. He's such a life force. I fucking love it. But yeah, that's it. That's what it's like to be a friend of Joey's. I absolutely, I'm a lucky motherfucker. I don't know. But now, here's my buddy, Syatt.
Or I think it will be my 9th year, so it'll be 8 full years. But it's been a long time. I'm ready to. I haven't really seen much. I've been in Boston and LA.
How long have you been with Joey?
I think it'll be 8.5 years. And because it'll be 7.5. It'll be 8 full years in May or June of next year. Because I met him like 6 months into being in LA.
It's interesting because I've heard him talk too about moving.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying. I'm not saying like I'm.
Yeah, that you're gonna leave, but
yeah, I mean, who knows with him? He has his movie coming out, so he could be here for 10 more years.
yeah.
But he's been talking about it. Is this the podcast or are we just chatting?
Yeah, actually, how are you, Lee?
Hi, buddy. I can never tell. I'm good. I gotta be honest. When Luke told me he was doing your podcast before you told me you had one, I was like, why does Eric want me to be on his podcast?
Oh no, listen. Luke was the test run.
Okay. You hear that, Luke?
I was setting up for you, baby doll.
Oh boy. Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. I actually just wanted to get you on the podcast so I could clear up to every listener that we are not a couple.
Well, we are a couple.
We are not a couple. You fucker.
We're holding hands. We're naked.
I don't know
this is
why
post-coital.
you. That was the only thing you were ever really able to tease me on. Was that I was fucking you, or that you were fucking me, or whatever the hell.
I'd be fucking you
in your head. Which exactly it wouldn't be. Trust me.
But I don't see. I don't.
Oh,
it just
did you
doesn't
hear
bother me. I just don't like the idea of something on my butthole.
You've never had anything in your butthole, right?
No.
So then how the fuck do you know?
I had a doctor's finger once.
Once?
I didn't like it.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
But yeah, he wasn't trying to jerk you off or anything. Was he? Was he?
No one really knows what his feelings were, but it doesn't seem like. I don't think that would. I don't know. It's weird. I've always enjoyed gay. Like when I went to Israel for my first semester of college, and I didn't really. I had some friends, but the two people that I was closest with were these two gay guys who were just best friends. Like they weren't together, but they we'd go. It was like we'd go out to dinner together.
Really?
It was just
where at in Israel?
Southern Israel. We went to it was called Ben Gurion University in a very boring town called Beersheba. It's kind of like, I'm trying to think. It'd be like going to like the Inland Empire. So it wasn't a very cool part of Israel.
Tel Aviv is like a good gay.
Oh yeah,
that's a hell of a spot from what I've heard.
I did absinthe in Tel Aviv.
Really?
Oh yeah. Nothing happened. Just it burned. But I am Woody Allen's son. I think I might be Woody Allen's son.
But actually, coming off sexually, you just had a great experience from what I'm told.
I'm so jealous of you.
Why? You had a great experience.
No, I didn't. You think it's great because
I have to set this up a little bit. So we go to this open mic, and what I loved is you actually had these like nice sweatpants on, and
Joey calls them my lesbian pants. he says I drive the boys crazy with these pants. And the most upset, and my mom got them for me for Hanukkah, so I'm really proud of them. I really enjoy them, and every time I can't wear them right now anymore because he goes, "Oh, I see you're wearing your lesbian pants." Drive the boys wild with those pants.
Well, this is what in my head I'm like, why the fuck is he wearing sweatpants to an open mic? And then you went on to tell us at the mic that you were actually going to do a hookup.
Yeah,
those are comfortable.
It doesn't happen. No, it's not that it was. It's not that I was gonna have sex. So I wanted to have comfortable pants. It was that this crazy girl, and if you're listening, I'm sorry, but you should know you are. I hook up with her every few months, and I don't like her coming to my place. So I tell her that I'm having work done, so she doesn't come over. So she was gonna give me a blowjob in my car.
Really?
So I wanted to have pants on. For those skinny people who can just take jeans off and on lickety split.
So you did it so it was easier access.
Yeah, easy access and easy put back on in case of the fuzz. I get nervous. I'm always I get nervous about it. I'm like, What is? Am I a sex offender if I get a blowjob in a car?
How fucking old are you, the fuzz?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, see,
What were you gonna shoot at him with your Tommy gun?
I'm always prepared, Eric. You know that.
That's
The Tommy gun. My suit's real tight.
So, did it happen?
Oh yeah, it happened, but she's just, I don't know what it is. I've always attracted the crazy. Like, I like the crazy ones, I guess. I don't know what it is about me.
You know what though? I have to say this. There is something to you that is a little crazy too. I think it's just getting it pulled out of you.
Maybe. You're probably right. That's the thing is, like, I like sex, and I wish I was having more of it.
And I don't just mean sex.
Oh, okay. I
mean like with everything, because you could always tell Joey no. Well,
I
let
wish.
me rephrase that.
No. You phrased it correctly. I'm just lucky that he's not gay. I try. It's like, even when we were doing edibles and bong hits, everyone, like, literally 1,000 other people could have came in and said, I don't really feel like doing a bong hit tonight, and he might tease him for a second, but he'd be fine with it. And I don't know, he's a good salesman.
I in my head, I always think of the belly room fiasco where.
Oh my god! I just told that story the other day.
Did you? It was just so crazy though. Like, I legitimately thought you were going to open. Or I thought you were going to have to follow Dave Chappelle that
doing
night.
half an hour.
And it seemed like everybody else knew.
Yeah, he probably told. I think he did tell everyone else in the
really
bar.
Quick, because I don't want you to tell the same story again.
No. I didn't tell it on a podcast. Let's tell it. It's a good story. So Eric and I, the first time we're both doing the belly room, Did we drive down together? Or we just met each other there. No, because you drove me back. But
yeah.
But we met there, and then we were like, "Where's Joey? Where's Joey?" And they're like, "He's in the comics only bar." And we both looked at each other because, like, it's for those of you who aren't comics, just doing the Comedy Store at all is very exciting.
Absolutely, that's the mecca
for any comic. But then when they were like, "He's in the comics only bar, go back." A, I didn't even really know where it was, but B, it's like, I don't even know. It's like going to Harry Potter's office. It's like, we're not allowed in there. Like
yeah, and we both made the conscious decision that we would wait outside the door.
Yeah, I think we made someone else let us in or something. And so we got let in.
Well, no, you called Joey.
Oh, okay.
You called Joey because I remember hearing his voice. It was like, "Get the fuck in here! What are you doing?"
Probably.
And so we both walk in, and I remember seeing in the back, like, patio, like, Mark Maron on his phone, and I think Jeff Ross was running out. Tony Hinchcliffe was there, and you just see Kate and Agostino. Do you remember walking in?
Well, because the patio and the bar are different.
Well, the bar leads out to the patio, doesn't it?
I think it's maybe right around the corner.
Yeah.
And what I remember is because it's like an L-shaped bar, and Agostino, and what I remember is Agostino and Joey sitting at the corner, close to the door. We walk in. He says hi to both of us, and Joey throws edible mints in my mouth. Like, I don't even think I was there a minute.
Oh yeah, he said we're going deep tonight.
Yeah. And he had told me that I was going to be hosting, which is nerve-wracking. Because I was less than a year into stand-up. I don't know exactly the time. And he goes, "Oh, you're not hosting anymore. Dave Chappelle wants to do 30 in front of you." And he said it like he's like, "They ran out of turkey, so they have ham. You're going to have a ham sandwich." And I just died inside.
Well, I remember too. He gave you the mints right away, and he waited.
Oh, he did
for
wait?
The mints to kick in a little bit.
I remember being high, but I thought it was sooner.
No, he waited just a little bit because I remember we were sitting on that couch like fucking mutes.
Yeah,
we were just like, okay, like we were taking it in. I was like, I might as well have been fucking you that night because I was not leaving your side at all.
I appreciate it. It was comforting. You held my hand. But yeah, he told me that, and like I melted. Like I think I was already sweating because I was nervous, but then I just started like pouring sweat because like I don't even know if there's a way to describe it. It's like saying, "Oh, you're about to face Pedro Martinez or And you're a Yankee fan. What was the closer? Mariano Rivera.
It would have been like you're gonna play in front of all of your heroes. You're gonna play in front of all of these scouts, and you're gonna be facing the number one relief pitcher of all time.
Yeah, and it was like because the worst bomb that I ever had, and there was just some guy at an open mic who saw it. Is that I did a dirty show at the Ontario Improv after the Smash Brothers, who are a twin brothers, they've done a dirty show for like 13 years. 6 months into the show, into my comedy career, I go up after they did half an hour, which is a long time, and they ended their set by spanking a girl with a sex toy.
Jesus.
And I went up there trying to do real material, and it didn't go well. So I just imagined, my first time in the belly room when I'm real nervous, that I'm gonna bomb beyond belief.
Well, and the funny thing about it was the minute he said that Chappelle was gonna host a show, he was gonna do 30 minutes, and then you were gonna follow him. He told you as a means like, don't fuck it up, because that was the scary thing. Don't fuck it up.
Oh, okay.
And then I remember when we sat there, you just started like. You know how you put that stuff on your windshield wipers that beads up rain?
Right.
So your head just started like beating up balls of sweat. And you
just thinking about it, my arms are getting clammy.
And I noticed though, because I didn't know what the fuck was going on, because when I looked around that room, everybody had like they wouldn't look me in the face.
Oh, that's funny.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like, and I was like, okay, he's either fucking around and these guys are laughing at it, or it's true and these guys are loving the misery that we're in.
Like fresh meat coming in.
Exactly. Because that's the other aspect of Joey, is that he didn't tell us how long we were doing.
Oh, yeah. Never tells us. Joey, how long you want me to do? Don't worry about it.
What's with all the fucking questions?
What's with the questions? Oh, okay. Just, my entire life is on the line here.
Don't worry about nothing. Nobody knows nothing.
And then we get up, I felt like we were down in the bar for like 20, 30 minutes. I'm dying inside. We walk up to the belly room.
You took so many mints.
I feel like, but they weren't that many milligrams, but together it was probably like close to 200 milligrams. It was between 100 and 200. And God damn it, Joey. I told Joey once that I don't like eating before shows because I get nervous. And he's like, you should do more shows. So I was just like, I probably hadn't eaten. I don't think I ate before the show. And so the edibles were in. We walk up to the belly room. Like, the thing that, even before I did comedy, it made me nervous how Joey did things, because I like to get places early and like make sure I'm going to be okay. Like, the show's like, let's say the show's going to start at 8, at like 7:59 and 50 seconds. He's like, all right, let's go upstairs. Or 8:05. Like something like ridiculous. So we get up there. He's like, I'm like, where's Dave? He's like, there's no Dave. So I go on stage, and it's a packed house. And luckily, the good thing about it is it's a lot of podcast people. So I did pretty well for the most part, except I did start repeating a joke. I do remember that. Because, like, I feel like halfway through my set, the edibles were like, oh, we're here to party. And then
it's like a resurgence, yeah.
Yeah. And they got a laugh when I, like, commented on it. But then the worst part is in all the Dave show. Did you just fart, or did that? Okay, I thought I heard something.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Those are Joey Diaz. Those are Joey Diaz phantom farts.
He's in the back. Is in all of the hullabaloo about getting ready for the show, I was like, oh wait, am I bringing Eric up? What's happening? And I got lit, and that was another thing, is I didn't want to run the light there. And so I'm like, all right, it's time to bring him up. And then I see you, and I'm like, we've known each other for close to a year, and we're very good friends. And I'm like, well, I don't know his name.
Yeah, I'm standing there like, what the fuck is he doing?
But in my head, it lasted minutes. Back on the recording, I think it was like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Because I was like, give it up for my good friend, You've heard him on the pod. Like I said everything. He's from Colorado. Like I just said everything, and I was like, "Oh, Eric Rocha," and then I apologized profusely when you
while on stage.
on stage, I was like, in my head, I was sitting there for like 3 minutes, like, "What's his fucking name?" But like that was the worst. Like that's honestly, I think one of the hardest things about stand up is when you have to remember something and your set. So like if you have to remember, okay, his name is Eric. And like if I didn't know you, but like okay, his name is Eric, and he has the Behind the Cork podcast, and like if we didn't know each other, like if I had to do 15 minutes and then remember that, that's what's hard for me.
Oh, dude, I was so afraid I was gonna fuck up Kate Quigley.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I had to bring up Kate after I went. I was like, fuck. Okay, don't forget this. And I don't think I wrote it on my hand, but I think I wanted to.
No, I think someone I forget. Oh, I did that at Skankfest. I think someone said that people actually do that.
Yeah,
I'm not
surprised. But yeah, I think what it was just the Comedy Store.
Yeah,
because that place is just, I mean, it's intimidating. But when you do well in there, I don't think there's a better feeling.
No, not at all. Like you saw the first time I ever did the Comedy Store.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 2 months into me doing stand up, maybe 3. And
you did really fucking well that night too.
Thank you, buddy. But it was a similar thing, kind of. So Joey and I did a podcast beforehand, and we got high. And I called an Uber to get to the Comedy Store because I was high. And for some reason, I had to go have him stop at my house first. So he drives from the office to my house, and I get in the Uber, and we're driving down Laurel Canyon to the store, which is a very windy road.
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing what felt like 50 miles an hour down this road. And I was too high to tell him to stop. And also, I felt like I was going to puke. So I was like, if I open my mouth to tell him to stop driving so fast, I'm going to puke.
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, that's $250.
Well, he gets car sick, too.
Who, Joey?
Yeah.
He does. And that's, I never get, Joey wasn't in the car.
Oh, okay.
Your
Uber. I got you. My bad.
Oh, no. Joey, probably, if Joey was doing it, I would have puked because he would be blasting Black Sabbath, laughing the whole way, beeping at people. But when I get to the Comedy Store, like, I legitimately can't stand up. And I'm like, I'm going to puke. And the angel Felicia Michaels saw me and was like, do you want a soda? And I'm like, yeah, please.
God bless you.
So she got me a soda. And what people told me later is it was probably nerves for doing the store. And it probably was a mix of that. But I think doing 50 down in Laurel Canyon was probably not great. But as I was nervous, it was the original room, which is not more exciting, but it's a more prominent room than the belly room. And as soon as I get on stage, I see you and Luke on the side, just sitting there. I was like, "Hey, it's Eric and Luke," and I was like, "Okay, we're cool. It's gonna be fine."
This was before we were actually close.
I thought we were close.
Well, no.
I thought we were best friends.
We were close, but we hadn't known each other. Like,
yeah, it was,
you know
I was
what
only
I mean?
2.5 months in me doing stand up.
Because this is what I loved about you when you first started coming around the fourth wall. You were distant. You were friendly. You were very approachable, but you also made sure to vet people in the sense of like, okay, is this person crazy or not? Because it's, you know what I mean? Like you're on comics and
it could be that. To me, what I think it is, and I think it's just me, is I'm a very shy person.
Really?
So like even like an issue I have is like making friends. Is the way I made most of my friends and like found people to date was from work. And it would be because it would take me a month or two of working somewhere to get like comfortable and like join in the fun. So like when I first started coming to the fourth wall, I started going to I chose the fourth wall because I felt like there were people who knew Joey and I didn't want to have that pressure. But I'm not someone who can run into a conversation with people that I don't know.
That's crazy because that doesn't read.
Well,
you hide it well.
I've changed a lot. I've opened up a lot since I've moved to LA. Being on the podcast and all that has helped a lot. But I'm still that Like, I just went to San Francisco over the weekend, and some comics invited me to a barbecue at like late at night. It was like 11 o'clock. And I went in, and I spent about 20, 30 minutes. I was pretty happy. I'm like, I'm going to tell my therapist I was social. But then like 20, 30 minutes in, I didn't know anybody, and the one person I knew was somewhere else. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go outside in the back. And I ended up out front of the house. I was like, okay, I'm just going to go home now.
Do you still get social anxiety like that? Like, is it crippling?
This was last week.
Oh, shit. That's...
It's,
wow.
it's not... I think it is social anxiety. To me, I just don't put myself in those... Like, I don't like... go to like house party. It's not that if I'm in, like, were you there or you weren't there? Josh Potter and Ellen Doyle and I got invited to what's the door guy at the store who comes up to the fourth wall a little bit? The bigger guy.
Oh, Dylan?
Dylan.
Yeah.
It was his roommate's birthday party. And he lives near the store and they were having like a comics party. So Josh Potter and I walk into this party, and this gave me anxiety because it was probably about the size of your living room, maybe 10 by 20, whatever it is, and it's just 40 people, like loud because they were all hammered, and, like the lights were off and it was hot, and I think we stayed in there for like 3 minutes.
Ugh.
It's like that. I like one or two people who I know already. And that like a little more calm scenario. I'm definitely I'm not good in those kind of social things.
Yeah, I agree. I get social anxiety, like especially if you're walking into like there's 40 people and then you're walking in and you're gonna get that moment where once you walk in, everybody looks at you, and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, that would not have been good. When I walked into this one, they were already just hammered, and I'm not a big drinker anyways, and I didn't. The only person I really knew there was Josh. And we were just sitting there, and then Ellen was like, "Hey, do you want to go smoke in my car?" And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be awesome,
Please."
So it's just
it's funny because I do want to get back to something.
Okay.
You have a practical joker in you too, though, and I've noticed it. It took me maybe a couple of months, but because I'm going to tell this story. When we did I don't know if it was Levity Live.
In Oxnard, or was it?
It was when Joey got pulled over.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so this is what
I don't know what story you're telling.
This is what made me laugh though, is Joey got pulled over, and he was calm about it. Like he was so
surprising.
Calm. I was like, this guy is fucking. He's as cool as anybody I've ever. The calmest I've ever seen from somebody getting pulled over. And I remember we're kind of sitting there and we're waiting for the cop to come. And you said something to the extent of this. You were like, do you think you're going to get a ticket?
Really? I don't even remember that.
And Lee, I looked down and I was like, oh my God, why would you ask that?
Did I really say that?
Yeah.
That's hysterical.
And it was like,
I must have been fucked up.
But the funny thing about it though was, like I knew you asked that question to fuck with him. Because one thing I've noticed about you is nobody can bring out the Joey Diaz, like that kind of, like when he gets really into Joey Diaz mode than you.
I do know how to bring it out, but
You do.
It's like 50% of the time I do it on purpose just to mess with him or to like get him fired up for a show.
And that's what I think people don't, not necessarily that they don't notice, but that's one thing that I have noticed is that it's a gift that you fucking have, is that you can ask him a question. Sorry. You could ask him a question that will send him into another realm in terms of like, why the fuck would you ask me something like? And and the shit that he comes up with, it's like you're his fucking little muse. Because when you asked him that question, it reminded me of Animal House. Do you remember when what's his name's trying to fit in, and he walks over to those guys playing poker, and they're all smoking, and there's like chips and beer. And there's drugs, and he comes over to the table and he's like, "You guys playing cards?"
I am. What's his Flounder? Is that his name?
I think it was Flounder.
Yeah, I'm definitely Flounder.
And I started laughing just because you asked it so fucking innocently, but it was so cutting that like, and the cop was walking to the window, and it's just
really,
like,
I don't.
Oh my
wow.
God,
That was.
It was, I don't know if it was what, but like, it was just a moment of silence where it was like, okay, this, it was an intense little moment where it's just like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. And then you're like, do you think you'll get a ticket? But then I'm reminded about Joe's Pizza.
See, that one to me, and Joey still brings it up. I don't think it was that funny.
That's the other one that makes me laugh, because sometimes I know you do it on purpose, but there's other times where you just fall into it. Yeah.
So not like, I think what it is I do it on purpose because I know what will get him, but I only learned what gets him from just being myself and having it happen. So this one, we were at the ice house. He got me high as fuck on the way there. Didn't tell me we were doing the big room for the first time. In front of the booker, which thanks a lot. But we get in the car, and he every show, every podcast we've ever done, he always, we're gonna go eat after, which, especially when I'm high, is like better than saying we're gonna go get a blowjob after. And so this time, I knew Joey was high because we actually did stop and get something to eat, which never happens. And we're sitting there, and part of my social anxiety is I don't want to bother people, and I know that Joey, like, I can see comics getting bothered a little, like, sometimes, like, if you ask them one or two questions about comedy, I feel like they like it, but sometimes I feel like some new comics berate them, and you and I were asking questions about comedy, and in my high mind, I was fucked up. I was on like 2 capsules, which is like 200 milligrams, which, if you're listening, doesn't sound like a lot for me, but these are strong. These are like, I'm falling asleep at the office until 6 a.m. edibles. So we're eating pizza, which is great. And in my head, I was like, okay, talk about something that's not comedy. And we're just devouring this pizza. And I like crispy crust. I don't know what it is, but I was like, okay. I got it. This is the non-comedy thing I can say that's going to make everybody real excited.
Okay, so I want to tell
your point of view
from this perspective, okay? We're sitting there.
You're the only sober one.
I'm eating the pizza with you guys. It's good. We asked him what we wanted to know, and then we got quiet, and we were just eating the pizza. You guys were in kind of like a haze, and I was just sitting there enjoying the pizza. It was just like a calm kind of thing, and like, it was cool because it's like, okay, it's nice to know that I can be quiet in a room with Joey and not have to fucking talk. Like, right. There's no anxiety there. But you for some reason, you felt the need to break the silence, like, because I could see you processing something, and I didn't want to say, because I was like, what's gonna come out? And it's quiet. You take a beat, and then you go, I like the crust when it's crispy.
It's just the truth, and to me, I in my head, I was like, this is gonna be the thing that you say that people are gonna talk about pizza for a minute. Who doesn't like it when it's crispy? Maybe Joey likes it a little bit more chewy. Who knows? and you and him look at me like I'm fucking speaking Russian or something.
Well, we just look at, like, because I looked at you and I was like, what? and
if the sober person's saying that, you really fucked up.
And I remember, Joey looks at you. First we looked at each other, then we looked at you, then we looked at each other, and we just started laughing. You guys were like, well, what? And
to me, I still feel like it was a good thing to say.
Yeah, you were like, what, I do? I said, I don't doubt that, Leah. But that's like another thing, though, because Joey was like, you see what I got to deal with here?
Oh.
And I just remember
my cheeks hurt.
He said about 8 different things under his breath. Like, fucking, yeah, buddy, like the fucking crust was, yeah, okay.
Now he'll just say that to me on the phone. He'll be like, you like it when the crust is crispy, right? And I'm like, I do.
And that's the thing, though, like, it's funny for somebody that loves structure to pair you up with somebody that is absolutely sworn against it. But I don't know, I think Joey's a lot more disciplined than people give him credit for.
Oh, he's very disciplined. He just doesn't. He's disciplined, but he doesn't have he has a plan, but he's the only one who knows it. It's very upsetting.
I think that's the best way anybody's ever put it.
Yeah, he doesn't tell anyone else his plan, and it's I'm someone who likes to know what the plan is, and he's like, no, I'm not telling anybody.
In an odd way, though, I think, because this is how I look at it too. I look at it like he can fuck with us, but he makes it clear that if we ever need anything, reach out to a point. You know, like I said, I'm not going to go asking him for fucking, Alexis or shit like that. But one thing that I always credit to him is like the confidence. Like the affirmation of like, hey, keep doing what you're doing. Keep working. You're going to get somewhere.
So it's especially having an established comic say you did a good job or anything like that, and it's very nice. It's and it's not that it's not important for me, but I think for you, because like I said, I knew Joey for 7 years before I started doing stand up, and he doesn't really bring me on the road. It's anything local to LA, or we did La Jolla, which was awesome. And he definitely says when I do a good job, but for you, you just happen to meet him, and he could bring anyone he wants on the road to feature, and for him to obviously take a liking to you and bring you, I think what the difference is like, if he only brought you once, then that'd be like, okay, he was doing me a favor, or just seeing how I was, and not that I bombed, but I didn't do that great. And he's had you open for him, what, 4 or 5 different times?
Yeah, it's been a few, actually.
So that's what I think is cool. It's like, okay, it's I can tell I'm doing okay, because he wouldn't bring me back if I wasn't.
And I think it's taught me, though, because not only just like the technical aspects of it, but there is a big part of it that, in terms of demeanor and how to conduct oneself. Because I can remember, like, I don't remember actually where we were, but I remember this lesson very clearly. And he was talking about, treat the wait staff like gold, because they're, they do so much for you. And I remember he's so good to, like, just the servers that serve us, and like they love him.
Well, he also tips them a lot. Like I feel like I'm a good tipper, but he'll give him like $20 for bringing waters in.
It's fucking crazy.
Like, that's a lot of money.
But then too, he'll say shit like, whatever you've got, like, oh, Joey, do you want anything for dessert? And he's like, oh, whatever's easy for you guys. And that's kind of what throws me too, is it's just he's so accessible like that. Like the standard of quality, that's just the given. Like, hey, we need this. But like in terms of people doing shit for us, he's very easygoing in that sense.
Well, I think what people, and I would think it too, is if you know Joey from the podcast, or if you see videos of him, you'd be like, his green room must be a fucking good time, playing music, fucking drinking, smoking, yelling at people, and it's almost like the waiting room of a hospital. Like, it's not bad, but it's just, he likes to be focused, I think, before a show.
Yep.
And conserve energy, and will smoke a joint or something, but he doesn't really eat. Occasionally he'll have something. The one thing that was funny, when I first started, like 6 years ago, maybe close to when the podcast, maybe like a year into the podcast, he took me up to San Jose for the weekend. I wasn't doing stand-up. It was just to like meet people after the shows, and I don't know what it was for. And his opener is a guy named Butch Escobar, a guy from San Francisco who's very nice. And the green room for the San Jose Improv is upstairs. And every night Butch Escobar would order a chicken sandwich, and we'd get fucked up. This is one of the shows where Joey got so fucked up that like he had to order food downstairs, like in the lobby waiting. But every night Butch Escobar would order a chicken sandwich, and every night when Butch would go on stage, Joey would eat like half of his sandwich, and then Butch would come back and be like, who ate my sandwich? Because like there was a host and him, and I was like, I don't know, because I'm not gonna tell. And then Joey's like, I don't know, dog. People are crazy. And every night, Joey would eat part of his chicken sandwich. But he doesn't really have that much food there, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's not the Animal House that people might think it is.
Right, and I don't know if you've seen it. Did you ever see that video that Ralphie did, answering questions for a comedy class at the store? It's pretty great. It's on Vimeo, and it's like a 2-hour Q&A he did for, I think it was like Sandy Shore's comedy class. And one of the things that he said, and I actually talked to Joey about this, so I don't think he got it from Ralphie. Maybe he did, but I think it's just maybe the same thought process. Is he says, like, especially when you're new, don't eat or drink at the club. And he's like, okay, like imagine you get 2 beers a show for a weekend. That turns you from a $300 comic into a $500 comic because you're costing the club money, and they might not bring you back. So Joey obviously, I think he sells a good amount of tickets, and they offer him food. So I think I don't think he has that same problem, but he might have that same
mentality.
Mindset. Mentality. Like, I don't want the club to feel like, oh, he runs up a huge bill, and
he does have like a tremendous amount of respect for clubs, for just the people in the club too.
Yeah, and I think, and it's not that it's disingenuous, but what he said to me, and which is why I try to do it when I'm hosting, is he said, make sure you thank the wait staff on stage. And he's like, because those are the people that are going to tell the manager, oh, I love when Joey or when Lee or when Eric comes. Mm-hmm. Like, it's always a great time. And like that's going to be another positive thing in your corner to bring you back.
I think one thing I really learned from him too, this was from Irvine, when it was George Perez, and it was you back there, and it was Joey. And one thing I noticed, especially what was so different from the open mic mentality to being in that green room, was there was no shitting. Like, I've never heard Joey talk shit on other comics. It's very, very, he was telling us who we should watch because they do great jokes. Watch this person as a writer. Watch this person. And I've noticed that that's the difference between comics that I love and respect, and I'm lucky in the sense that I've gotten to hang out with Joey before a show. And when we go to open mics, and sometimes you'll hear, oh, this person's fucking terrible. Oh, this person was so fucking awful. And it's not to say that, comics can't shit on people of all calibers.
Right.
But one thing I notice is Joey's never really wasted his time with negative words about one particular comic.
Yeah, I think especially before a show, you're trying to get in maybe like a funny, excited mindset. And I don't... Maybe being negative like that would put you in a weird mindset before a show where you're not focused on what you're supposed to be doing, or I'm not sure. But now that you mention it, I think I've heard him say people he doesn't like, but before a show, he's very focused. He doesn't really have the TV on. He doesn't really, like some of the clubs have it the stage mic pumped in to the green room, and he'll always turn that off. Not that he doesn't want to watch them, but he's focused on other things, I think.
Well, and even after his show, because if it's ever been about another comic, it was never on, oh, this person's a terrible act.
Yeah, I mean, it's
but like I said, you're around him more than I am, obviously.
No,
but
and I'm not saying that he shits on people constantly. I think everyone can shit on people, but I think it's just where you focus your energy is. I mean, not everyone's going to be for you. So, I mean, I think there's a difference between people that maybe you just don't like their stand-up versus, like, I'm not going to name any names, but there's people who, when they come, I think the difference is maybe when you get to Joey's level, for the most part, even if you don't necessarily like them or like their stand-up, they're proficient in some way, and there's some open micers who,
And there's a respect about that.
yeah, there's respect about it, and I think open micers are weird people, but there's some open micers who come in and you're like, I can't believe I have to sit through 5 minutes of what they're about to say. Like it's I think there's some bit of that, but I don't really. I just think maybe it's just something he doesn't focus on.
Yeah, and because that's where we connected, was talking about, Mudbone with Richard Pryor.
Oh, okay.
When the Junkie and Dracula or name a thing, and that was one thing that I always loved, was it was never look at all the shit I've accomplished. It was one of those things where it was like, oh, you should, like, I'm like, oh, I saw Mooney at Caroline's on Broadway, and he's like, oh, I used to watch him at the Comedy Store. I used to have to follow him, and it was never look at what I've done, because funny thing is, dude, there's fucking comics out there like that, headliners that have to let you know what they've done.
Oh yeah,
and Joey, it was always a matter of like, oh, you should have seen Paul Mooney do this. I saw him do this one night, and it's. I'll give you an example. When I was at Amoeba, and I told you the story, but I was at Amoeba and I was looking for Richard Pryor albums, because you guys turned me on to vinyl. So I was looking for Richard Pryor albums, and I was looking for one in particular, and there was it was like 10:30 on a Saturday, and so I'm looking for this album, and then I'd asked the sales dude, I was like, this is what I'm looking for, and I found it, and it was like $15, and I was like, fuck me, this is cheap. And so the guy who was standing next to him was like, you want to know a good comedy album? And I looked over, and it was Chris Rock.
That's still a great story.
And
Even
I was
though I've
like,
heard
oh.
it, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, I was like, holy fuck. And he's like, you want a good comedy album? Try this one. He pulled out Tambourine. And, he started telling me about how he recorded it, and then we started talking about different albums. And so I told him, I was like, look, I'll buy the album. Is there any chance I get you to sign it? And he's like, yeah, absolutely, sure. So I went and I got a Sharpie from the desk, and as I came back, I told him, I was like, hey, I've been lucky, and, I've been getting to open for Joey. And what was amazing was he was like, yeah. And he acknowledged how fucking much of a badass comic Joey was.
That's cool.
But what was really cool too was I asked him, I said, why is the OR so fucking hard? Because that was when I had just, Joey had gotten me a spot at the OR a couple times, and I was like, why is that room so fucking hard? And one of the things he talked about was because it's a room that had Richard Pryor on it, that had Paul Mooney on it, that had Robin Williams. It's just like, it's one of the best rooms in the country. So it's impossible to deny that going in.
There definitely is an extra pressure there. Speaking of I just got to do Caroline's for the first time, and
fuck yeah,
I was like, wow, like it's I forget where I was. There was somewhere else. Doesn't matter, but it's just crazy thinking about, like, even though I'm like, you're 5 years in.
I'm actually 6
6
now.
years in.
Yeah.
Like, even though you're 6 years in and I'm almost 2. And we're nowhere, like, I'm nowhere near.
No, you're right.
You're a lot better than I am. But
easy.
On the easy.
Touch my penis when you say that.
Okay. Move closer. Even though we're not anywhere near that level yet of the greats, which is understandable, to be doing the same thing that they did on this, like, literally, like, the same. Like, because the stage, I'd heard about Caroline's, but I'd never been. But it's a very small stage, and I was like, "Fuck!" Like, dude, someone else's, their feet were here.
I couldn't do that room. I don't think, if I got lucky and they were like, "Hey, do you want to do Caroline's?" I wouldn't be able to do it because
why? Yes, you would.
I worked there for like 3 days, but
you only worked there for like 3 days.
Yeah, dude, it was awful. I was so terrible. I don't know if it's the same management, but this is what happened.
I was gonna say, how can you be terrible at seeing people?
I kept transferring people. No, I had to run the phones.
Okay.
And I kept transferring one of the manager's wives. I kept transferring her to him without, like, screening the call. And so, like, and he was like, the one thing I don't want is screen the calls. Just tell me who's on the line. And you get so many fucking phone calls that I would just transfer through. And I was like in my 20s, my early 20s when I was still a fucking
there's
idiot.
no way he's still there.
Oh, dude. So, anyways, what ended up happening was he came out and he found the guy that was training me. And they went to, like, where I couldn't hear them. Wink, wink. And, dude, he just berated how terrible I was. But he did it to where I could fucking hear it. He's like, he's a fuck up. He's a fuck up, and he doesn't know he's a fuck up.
And you just walk
That's
up
the
the
worst
stairs
kind of fuck up.
with the jacket over your shoulder.
And I was like, ooh, boy. And he was like, I don't want him here. If he doesn't fucking get it in 3 days, we're going to have to fire him because he doesn't fucking get it. And I was like, oh, boy. So I was like,
my asshole is sweating just here.
and then so like the next day I was like, yeah, I don't want to work here anymore. And he's like, oh, really? Why not? And I was like, come on, dude, let's be honest. And he's like, all right, I understand. And he's like, but thank you for doing it. Anyways,
you could do it.
yeah, now I could. Cause
Yeah,
I
well,
was
not
just,
the phones. I'm just saying before. I think you could handle the phones, but no, you could perform on that stage. It was New York was pretty cool. New York was pretty awesome.
Well, that's what Luke was saying on the previous podcast. Is
Right.
just how fucking brilliant it was. But the one reason why I couldn't do Caroline's is it's a mental thing right now because, dude, Paul Mooney used to tear that fucking room apart. I mean, and I'm not kidding, dude. That it's funny because at the Ice House, this last recent time that we did it, the most recent time, I walked off of that stage going, man, I think that was a pretty good fucking set. Like, okay, I need to do this more. I need to do this, but all in all, like, I'm happy that I got to do this, and I was happy for the chance. And I was like, all right, cool. Now I'm gonna watch Joey. And I remember being so excited that I got certain things, dude. Within the hour, I watched these guys all stand up in like a particular row and just start going, Joey. I've heard of getting applause breaks, but dude, he had to pause so they could fucking chant his name.
It definitely is. The thing that I've noticed opening up for a few people is like, even if I feel like I have a good set, just even if you don't hear what they're saying, the level of laughter and the kind of laughter and like the breaks between the laughter, like it's just when you get to that level, it's just different.
Yep.
It's and I get it. I mean, I get that seeing Paul Mooney destroy there would be exciting and intimidating. But I did a guest set on Felipe Esparza's show.
See, that's
and of course, Felipe did a way better job than I did. But it I don't think we're supposed to be at that level yet. I think it's, to me, because I had a couple bad sets in New York, but for the most part, and Caroline's included, I did pretty well. But it's just cool to be able to see yourself doing like these roles. Like I went, before I even moved to LA, I lived in Boston. I would go to New York a lot, and I would go to, I think it's gone now. It was called the Ha Comedy Club in Times Square, and I never went to Caroline's before, but everyone knows about Caroline's.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to Gotham. I think that's it in New York, but it's just open mics are so terrible. Even though the one that we go to a lot, that we met at the Fourth Wall, is probably the best one, or one of the best ones in LA. They're still so terrible compared to real shows.
Well, and I think it's a blessing too to know what a real crushing set is.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Like, I'll walk out of an open mic and I'll hear people say they crushed, and it's like, did you really? It's like, do you know what a real fucking crush is?
The sad thing is I think they really do think that. They're like, there's one guy who I won't mention who goes like, I'm gonna do this on Conan. I'm like,
no, fuck.
I don't think you're gonna be a audience member at Conan. To be honest with you,
They wouldn't even let you in the crowd, motherfucker.
No. But it's because it's I've there and some other places I've met people who've been doing open mics for 10 years, and it's not like because there's some comics who come in 10 years in who are just like, hey, I need to do a spot, I'm gonna do a spot, and that's something different than I haven't progressed past. Like, I still don't get booked on shows because I'm a terrible it's so it is I've been very lucky to just get a peek at what a real working comedian's life is like.
You've been lucky too. You've put in a lot of work. Because I will say this, I think in many respects, because I was telling a comic friend of ours, Rob Banks, about this. I think you've had it harder than I have, and this is what I mean by that. I got to fail in places that were shitholes where nobody fucking knew who I was. You know, like I've talked about this many times, but there was a place called the Oyster House, and I remember Steve Sharippa was there, and I made that guy not want to eat his chowder anymore with my fucking joke. Like, I just saw, like,
he got it to go
exactly. Like, you would have thought that, like, I had shot him, like in that Sopranos episode, but with my fucking terrible jokes. It was like the second year in I was doing stand up.
Well, I appreciate it,
but hang on, don't.
Oh, okay.
Fucking
I'm
easy,
sorry.
all right? God, no wonder he
me.
fucking teases you. It's because you don't know when to shut the fuck up.
I'm sorry.
God. And I swear to God, dude, not to talk shit, but there was not a fly in this place. And now there's 3 fruit flies that I can fucking see.
For the
you know what? I'm not going to touch it.
There are no flies.
I'm not going to fucking touch it.
This
Yeah, of course they're not going to.
the only gay apartment that's a
because
little
you can't
bit messy.
see them. You can't turn your head. You can't turn your head but 3 fucking inches.
You son of a... Hummus comes out when I twist.
Okay, so here's the thing, though. I got to fail where nobody could fucking see me, as as it should be. Like, there's a reason why open mics are in the gutter. It's because nobody looks in the gutter for the
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Nobody fucking looks there. But with you, it's interesting because you have to, I feel like, put in some cases, double the work, because you have to write like an open micer, but then you also get to do these shows where you're on with headlining comics. And so if there's a weak link in your act, it's very blatant because there's a lot of headliners there. So you have to work ridiculously fucking hard.
Well, thank you. I don't, because I've had a couple shows where, like, one of the first shows I got put on, they call it a show. It's a booked mic at the Skiptown Playhouse. And I posted it on Instagram, and 2 people came down, and they said hi to me before the show. And I didn't do well, and they didn't say hi to me after the show. So I know how that feels. But I don't want people to, and that's part of why I think I was a little bit reserved at the open mic at the beginning. And I've had people who literally, like, within the last month have been like, I didn't know you did a podcast with Joe. Like, I didn't tell people. It's not that I don't know. I never want to feel like I'm bragging. I'm not that kind of person. But I specifically, it took me a while to start stand-up. I think one of the reasons is because I didn't want people to only laugh thinking, oh, they'll get to Joey. So I specifically tried to work on it just as a regular open micer with no background. I think I work hard because I want to do well, and I want people to be like, oh, he's actually funny. But I think I even though I'm only 2 years in, or not even, I had a little bit of a leg up hearing all these great comics talk, listening to their process, getting to be on. Even though I didn't go on the road that much, I went on a few on the road with Joey, but I'd see him at the store 100 times. I've been to the Ice House 100 times with him, and just seeing how the process of writing jokes and seeing people change up how they do jokes. So I feel like I kind of audited stand-up even though I wasn't necessarily performing.
I think it's a fair assessment.
I got to, like, see the process a little bit. So I hear a lot of open micers, and even Joey spoke about it when he started, that he didn't really he thought that people just on their specials just walked in and that was the first time they did that material. So I feel like I have my foot in kind of two different parts of comedy, and I get to see how professionals do it, so I know what the end goal is. It's like kind of like do you ever play video games?
Not really, but go ahead.
They have like walkthroughs and stuff, and when you get frustrated like me, I will look at walkthroughs sometimes.
I gotcha. Okay.
So like, I can see where I'm supposed to end up or where I'd like to end up, and I have a little bit of a roadmap. So I feel like I have, but I don't really know exactly how to get there. But it is interesting, and I think it's partly because of LA. It's fun going to like smaller towns. Like I went to Bakersfield, and then I went to Fresno, but Fresno is a little different. But go to places where they don't have the opportunities that we have, where they can't do. Like if I wanted to, I could be at the fourth wall from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. every night and do 20, 30 minutes. And I think last year I did like 460 spots. Most of them, like probably 400 of them are open mics. But where people don't have that opportunity, I can see the skill difference. And it's just because they don't have, and I think that's what all the big comics talk about.
Every night.
They don't, even if they get up every night, they're only doing one. So I've definitely been very lucky, and I'm grateful to be able to, because something that I've always struggled with, and I still struggle with it, is looking ahead too much and wanting to be further along than I am. Because right now, like, my dream is that someone's gonna knock on Eric's door and be like, "Hey, Lee, do you want to feature 52 weeks a year for the Improvs?" I'm like, "Thanks, comedy god." Like, and like that's like if someone could give me that, I would come all over myself right now. But I know that it's probably a good thing that I have to work and improve before that happens. But that's doing comedy is a good I don't know. It's a good test for me to work on just being in the moment and not looking too far ahead.
Is it something you want to do professionally?
Forever? Oh yeah, like that's honestly what my dream right now is whenever the podcast ends, and there's no, I'm not saying that's gonna happen in the next few months or year. I don't even know when. But what I would like to do is go and just live on the road and spend 2 to 3 months in a different city, and like really like do some open mics, meet some people who are running shows, maybe showcase at the local club so you can start doing work there, but like really put all of my focus in the stand-up. I think that would be cool.
I feel like that's changed. Because I don't think you used to talk about that maybe a year ago.
And I think this New York trip really opened my eyes.
Fuck, dude, you're only the second guest, and that's the second time a testament to New York stand-up has been proclamated on this fucking show.
Because like I said, I want to kind of go on live in different cities. If I had a way to make money, I would just move straight to New York.
Really?
But it's just too expensive, and it's similar to LA where there's just so many great comics, and they have all these clubs, and I got to do some cool clubs. But at the point where I am right now, I wouldn't be able to do those. Like I wouldn't be up at the Cellar, or that's just not where I am yet. But those 4 days, I did 11 shows in 4 days, which would take me 2 or 3 months to do here in LA. Real shows, not open mics. And I did them all over, different clubs, different audiences, and just jumping on the train from one spot to another, getting an Uber.
What was that like? I mean, was that exciting? Was that
when I was getting out of college, I thought I was going to move there. The only reason I came to LA was I interned for a TV show the summer before I graduated, and they offered me a job. So I was like, I have a job at a good show. I might as well go back. But I've always loved New York. So New York in itself is exciting for me. But then to like feel like a real, even though I only got paid for 2 of the spots. So it's not a money thing. But just the fact that you hear all these comics talking about doing multiple spots a night and running around until 3 a.m. and getting to talk to the hosts at all these different places and yeah, thinking about who's been on this stage. Mm-hmm. Like that's what it was. We were talking and I couldn't remember what it was. Is I got lucky and I got to do Dangerfields, which is one of the oldest ones. But then we had Dice Clay on the podcast recently, and I didn't realize, because one of the first things that Joey ever showed me was Dice and Bill Hicks on the Young Comedian special. And I didn't.
Fucking amazing.
It is amazing, but I didn't realize they shot it at Dangerfields. Mm-hmm. And when I found that, I was like, oh my.
It's holy ground.
And it's like, when you go in there, it's very retro. Like there's no way for me to know if this is true or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if it looks the same. Like I don't think they've done a big renovation since that thing was shot. So I'm like, so wait, Dice and Bill Hicks and Lenny Clark and all those guys were literally on this stage? Like they maybe like the piano, like maybe they touched the piano, like
shit.
Like Dangerfield like sat at this bar stool. Like, and I like it happened after the fact. Well, I didn't realize it as it was happening. But it was just like, whoa, like it's like going on the field at Fenway Park for me.
Yeah.
And I don't get to swing the bat, and I would probably kill myself if I was trying to face a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. But I can go on stage in front of the same audiences that they went in front of, and it was I would pay for that experience. Like it's
fuck
like
yeah,
it's like you could sell that to people like
a comedy camp.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what it is. It's not even a career. It's like an obsession. And we're always talking like our circle of friends, at least in terms of open micers or comics.
Sorry, I just thought of circle jerk. Sorry, I'm sorry.
I love because you talk about it, but I've tried to get you to touch my dick and you chicken out.
No, you don't try to. You aggressively try to touch mine.
I know, and you act all fucking weird about it. It's not flattering. You get all red and then you get all quiet.
Because when straight guys do it, it's like chicken, but we're never gonna really get close.
Yeah.
And with you,
yeah.
I feel like if I don't stop,
just keep talking. All I'm thinking about is touching your dick. Go ahead.
It'd be very disappointing for you. But it's like for you, I feel like you wouldn't stop. But I interrupted you. In our circle of friends, it's an obsession. You were saying something.
This is what I love. With our circle of friends, nobody usually talks or can talk longer than 2 minutes without somebody getting a joke in about a dick sucking or how long the person's been going on about a subject.
Well, it's a joke, but it's also we're jealous because you have Boys Ahoy, and
dude,
you just get
that. I can't. This is how I know, like, what I love is, like, I remember this was before I had a vehicle, because you called me about this. I was walking to one of the gay bars that I go to after an open mic,
right,
and I look over and Joey's in his car and he's like, "Get in," and he goes, "I'll give you a ride if you want." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, I go, you don't have to do that, because I didn't know that. Well, I was like, oh fuck, like, I didn't know. I was like, oh shit, I don't want to do anything to fuck up, his perception of me, because it was a skeezy fucking gay bar.
Yeah, I think that probably made him like you more.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, I don't know if I wanted to see me to go into this place. And then he just goes, "Hurry the fuck up! We're in front of the police station. I don't like this place." And so I didn't realize, but yeah, we were. So I hop in and he takes me to the gay bar that I go to. And, we had this little conversation. It was funny. But he's like, all right, is this it? And I go, yeah. And I was like, hey, man, thanks so much for the ride. I appreciate it. He's like, oh, sure, absolutely, man. Don't worry about it, dog. And I step out and I was like, and I have to tell, and then he like fucking peeled out.
Yeah, he's not gonna hang around.
Yeah,
There.
he wasn't gonna hang out in front of a gay bar for too long.
But yeah, I think he called me after. He's like, you got to give Eric rides to that place. Can't let him walk. I'm like, why am I getting yelled at? I didn't know. But then I would always offer you rides because like it's just Joey's like.
Dude,
Like,
and then
he's like a parent. Like he just is always around.
And then he gives me the boy ahoy.
Boys ahoy!
Sorry, boys ahoy. So
Just not one boy. It's
he's
boys.
he tells me like he calls me up and he's like, I got this app I want you to try. Because he knows I've got like Grinder and Scruff and all that shit on my phone.
Scruff.
Yeah. And
That's a new one.
it's not a new one, it's old.
It's new to me.
Well, don't worry, I'll show you later on.
Oh.
Not that you'll fucking need it, you pussy. You might as well just leave your dick on that table on your way out, Lee. I'll find a gay guy that'll put it to good
a
use.
grower, not a shower. I feel like a gay guy would see it and be like, ugh.
Was he Jewish too?
Yeah.
Ugh.
I keep it in the tribe.
No, so yeah, he gives me boy ahoy or boys ahoy. Sorry, multiple boys. And dude, that app is fucking great. And like, I'm laughing because I'm like, fuck, Joey. He doesn't fucking know, but he gives me this miracle app, and I was like, Jesus Christ, this thing's fucking awesome.
He just wants everyone to get their dick sucked. He doesn't care who's doing
I know
it.
he's kind of like an angel in this. We're a good place to stop by. I want to tell you my favorite memory that I have because this is what makes me happy. Probably one of my favorite moments in stand up is the night we did the belly room. Not because we got to do the belly room, but afterwards, if you remember, we went to a Yum Yum Donuts.
Was it that night?
Yeah, it was after.
Because you were driving my car.
Yeah,
so
we
you
drove
us
to it. Yeah, we drove to it. So
because I remember being at Yum Yums, as you remember from that story, I was on multiple edibles, so I don't know what
absolutely.
night that was.
So I remember it was you, me, and Joey, and we were all just sitting there, and it felt so awesome to know that we had just did a sold-out show at the Comedy Store, and then it was just the three of us sitting in this fucking Yum Yum Donuts just bullshitting about life.
It was pretty cool.
That to me it was like, holy fuck, like this is the life that I want. Because then like it was this beautiful moment where I was like, fuck, I'm with two people that are amazing friends to me, and we just did this fucking thing that was so much fun. It was so much fun. And then to interrupt my like Nirvana like feeling, Joey looks at you and he says, Lee, go ask that chick at the counter out.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And we started laughing. And he goes, no, Lee, here's what you tell her. You go up to her and you say, listen, you're beautiful. I think you're fantastic. He goes, and you tell her, you look at her in the eyes and you say, today's your lucky day. You're not going to have to ride your bike here from San Pedro no more. Dude, I just fucking... we all just started laughing.
I don't know where he comes up with this stuff. And he does that to... one time we left the Ha. I don't think he went up, and we went to the Denny's. It was like midnight or 1 a.m, and this same sort of looking lady, like just a normal, average looking, like probably she's like in her 50s lady, like a mom. Every time she came up, he'd be like, "You're looking hot today. You're looking beautiful. Like I want to take you." Like I don't know. Like I just remember him saying things that like I would never say to anybody, and not because I don't, not because it's rude, because like I don't have the balls to say it. But women love, like if he had said that to the Yum Yum Donut girl, like if I said it, I would be banned from Yum Yum Donuts. If he said it, she'd giggle and like give him a free donut or something. Like he just has a way about him. That was a great story, and I do want to thank you because it's maybe because it's different. You were very welcoming to me and very nice, and I've always felt comfortable with you. And and that's not the way I normally feel with people. So you are one of my best friends in comedy. And I'm very happy and that you started your podcast Behind the Cork, right?
Yeah,
I said it right twice. I'm very proud of myself. And if anyone is listening from the Church of What's Happening Now, Eric was a guest on the Church of What's Happening Now this year, and as you heard, opens for Joey a lot. So please give this podcast a chance. I know it's gonna. What am I? Episode number 2?
You're number 2, buddy.
So I'm sure in 20 episodes you're like, oh, let's delete that episode with that Jew. Let's get him off of here.
I love you, buddy. I'm gonna have you on again.
I'll be on whenever you want.
Hell yeah.
And next time I won't bring a Coke Zero.
Say you might lose your mind if you don't find the time to lose your fucking mind and just have a good time.
Alrighty, so that was Lee Syatt. I love him. What else can you say about him? He's got some shows coming up. He's gonna be at the Ice House, and he's also gonna be at Flappers. He'll post the dates on his Twitter, so if you want, check him out. He's fucking great. He's at Lee Syatt. Follow him. He'll have the dates to the shows and where you can get tickets and all that good stuff. Also, if you don't know, check it out. The Church of What's Happening Now. That's with Joey Diaz and Lee Syatt, 2 of my favorite people on this earth. So, that said, thank you guys so much for being with me, and we'll catch you next week. Take care, guys.
Going down by the railroad track.